Hi, I'm Emily Roberson, and I'm a novelist, and I am doing a series on the questions that creative people ask themselves. And so today, my question is, should I quit on my dream? And so you may be in this position where you have made song after song, or done drawing after drawing, or submitted query after query, and you just feel like, can you possibly keep going at this? And maybe people in your life are asking you, are you still doing that? Are you still working on that screenplay? Or are you still playing in that band? And maybe even some person, we all know that person, will say something like, don't quit your day job. So I have definitely been in your shoes, and today I'm going to talk about the questions you should ask yourself if this is where you are in your creative life. Before you decide to put up your point shoes or put away that guitar for good, here is where I want you to start. Think hard about what is your dream exactly. Are you dreaming of being on the New York Times bestseller list? Are you dreaming of having an album that sells millions of copies? Are you dreaming of accepting your Academy Award or being on television? Ask yourself what it is exactly that you're pursuing. If it's the New York Times bestseller list, is it that you want to be recognized as successful, or is it that you want many, many people to read something that you wrote? If it's that you want to hit the Billboard charts, is it because you want to make a lot of money, or because you want people all over the country dancing to your song? Once you really think hard about what your reasons are, you can also think hard about whether you should quit or whether you should change what you're doing. So when you ask yourself, hopefully you got a piece of paper and you've jotted down what you're hoping to get from this, one other question to ask yourself is, can my dream actually attain that for me? Because I feel like the road of art is strewn with people who thought that hitting the New York Times bestseller list or the Billboard charts or making a movie would bring them love, and we all know how that goes. That's an old story. But maybe you have a different reason. Like for me, I know that my core need in life is to connect with people. That is crucial to me. And so it was really important to me to write books, partially in order so then I could talk to people about them. Because with a book, I can hold your attention for 250, 300 pages, and then we can talk about it later. Whereas that would be a 10-hour conversation and nobody's signing up for that. So maybe you make music and you want people to sing along. There are many ways to achieve that goal. You could be putting songs up on YouTube. You could be playing for friends. But maybe you just want to make music with other people, in which case you would do better to jam with your friends in the basement. You don't even necessarily have to release your work if that's not why you're doing it. So look hard at what your possible dreams were, and then see if maybe your work isn't really even capable of containing that. So here's another issue that comes up a lot. The question of money, and are you wasting your time? And I have so many thoughts about this. I think we have this notion in the whole culture that if you're doing something and it doesn't pay you, you're wasting your time. Now, none of us feel this way about sitting and watching Netflix for 6 hours. We don't get paid to watch Netflix. We just watch Netflix. And nobody says, oh, you're wasting your time. But if you sit there and draw for 6 hours, you leave yourself subject to someone saying, well, you just wasted your time because you could have been watching Netflix. Well, here's the story. I think drawing's more fun than watching Netflix, and I don't even like to draw. So you can do the art and the thing that you love with no remuneration at all. You still have value. What you're doing still has value, and your day job is irrelevant. There are plenty of people all over the country who are writing novels and are also lawyers during the day, who are playing in bands and are also doctors, electricians, house cleaners, all kinds of things. So the decision about whether your art has value really should, I think, be separated from whether or not it earns money. Your art is its own thing. And in the same way we don't expect children to start earning money as soon as they can walk and talk, your art should not be asked to do that before it's ready. So what if you're like me and you ran all that stuff and you realize you have a dream and yes, you would like to get paid for it, which is true for me. I have lots of hobbies. I used to play music a lot, never wanted to get paid for that. I knit all the time, never expect anyone to buy any of my knitting. Please don't buy my knitting, it's terrible. Although my friends and family are very kind and they take it. For my writing, I knew that I wanted to get paid for it. And part of that is because that's how we assign value in this culture. And part of that is because what I have found with my writing is that when I give it to people, they don't read it. But when they buy it and pay for it, they do. So that's just the way it is. In my case, maybe not in yours. Once you've identified, I would like to be in a different place from where I am, which is where most of us are when we're asking ourselves this question, should I quit on my dream? Probably what you've done is run headlong into the brick wall of a gatekeeper of some kind. In my case, that was the querying process. The querying process, for those who don't know, is when you have a finished product of a novel, 300, 400 pages of work, 2 or 3 years of your life in my case, and you're trying to convince someone in publishing to take a chance on you who has no friends in it. I mean, I knew no one in that world. And so I ran directly into that wall and all I heard was no. And not even nice no's, just like a scrap of paper that said not right for us at this time, or didn't connect with the main character, and it was clear they hadn't read past the first couple pages, and my feelings were desperately hurt. I'm sure you've had the same. If you recorded an album, you put your heart and soul in it, and you put it up on SoundCloud, and no one is listening to it, and it's a horrible, horrible feeling, and it can drive all of us to ask, should I quit? Is today the day that I decide I don't want to do this anymore? I'm not putting my soul out in the world for people to trample on it anymore. So this is the question to ask yourself when you've reached that point. What would happen if I changed? What would happen if I changed what I was thinking of doing? Okay, here's what happened for me. I had finished a novel. No one wanted it. I was living in an incredibly expensive city. I was working full-time. I was newly married. I hated so many things about my life, although I did love being married and I loved living in Boston, but I felt like I was stretched far too thin. And I thought to myself, what if I just give up on this writing thing? I just give it up. I put it off. I delay it. I say, I will revisit this again when I'm 50, which at that point felt impossibly old. I will look at this again when I'm 50. And I remember clear as day, even though it was so long ago, clear as day, sitting there in our apartment and saying to my husband, I'm just going to give up on this. I'm just not going to do it anymore. It's not worth it to me. So I told him that, and then I needed to go to Trader Joe's. So I walked out of the apartment. I walked out onto the street of Brookline, Massachusetts. If you've ever been there, there's trolleys, there's brownstone apartments. It's all lovely. You guys, it was like a cloud had dropped down on top of the world. Imagine one of those scenes in a movie where the whole thing goes to black and white and you know it's supposed to be really sad. That's what happened. I decided I wasn't going to write anymore, and it's like I stepped into a fog and I could see a major depression like 20 feet ahead of me on the sidewalk. And that's when I knew, nope, I don't get to quit on this. I do not get to quit on this dream. And so I went back to dreaming it. Now, did that change how much writing I could do at that point in my life? No, I still was like squeezing in dribs and drabs of time. But I did write a whole other manuscript. I did take a class on writing a novel, which are all things I'll talk about in other videos. But the important thing is I knew at that point, no, I still really want to do this. In fact, I need to do this. Want isn't a choice. And so that's the other question for you to ask yourself about your dream. Is it something you want or is it something you need? And if it's something you need, you can keep doing it for as long as is necessary. So here's what happened for me. I went through all that. I wrote another novel. I queried another novel. And nothing happened. Everyone said no. And then there was a massive financial crisis and everyone really said no. And I was again at that brick wall. I had put my heart and soul into this thing and it was still not gonna happen. But you know what happened? I looked at it a different way. I had worked in marketing for an engineering firm. I knew how to do page layout. I had friends who were designers. So I decided I'm gonna self-publish this novel. So I did. That's my novel, Life, Motherhood, and the Pursuit of the Perfect Handbag, still available for sale today on Amazon. And I put it out there and people read it and it has sold, I don't know, 3,000 or 4,000 copies over the course of its life. And it's been great. And I got to the end of that process and I said, okay, I know I can do this. People are reading my book. It's very exciting. And then I did what I want you to do again and again. I reassessed. I looked around. I said, well, is this what I want to do? Do I want to write books and then self-publish them? And then I realized no, because for me, a big part of what I wanted, and this is me, you just have to face the parts of yourself even when they're sort of ridiculous. What I wanted was to go to New York. And what I wanted was to be featured in magazines. I love magazines. I have loved magazines my whole life. I have dreamed about New York City my whole life. I am a girl from Arkansas. I dreamed about New York. I knew I wanted that. So I went back to the beginning. I wrote another novel. I tried to sell it traditionally. It didn't sell. So I went back to the beginning. I wrote another novel. And that's Lifestyles of Gods and Monsters. And you can buy it now. And you know what? It got featured in Cosmopolitan. It got featured in Us Weekly. Us Weekly. You know, Us Weekly. It's amazing. So now I'm at the next phase. I have another novel to write. How will I do it? I don't know yet because I'm still assessing, which is what I want you to do. Just look around. Is this still your dream? Is it still what you want? When you got something, make sure to look back and say like, wait, I got that thing that I wanted so badly. Because the thing about our dreams is they grow. And so when you first start, your whole dream is that one person will read your book. When I self-published, I had 4 things that I wanted. I wanted a review from someone who didn't know me. I wanted to make back my costs. I wanted someone to buy it that didn't know me. And I just wanted to see my book in the world. And I addressed all 4 of those things in the first month of the book being out. And for Lifestyles and Gods and Monsters, I wanted to go to a festival. I did. I went to the Louisiana Festival of Books, which is amazing. Everyone should go. I wanted to go on a book tour, and I did. You know what? I got to go to New York City. New York City. I got to go. It was great. Did it make everything in my life perfect? No. Do I still have to write another book? Yes. Am I famous now? No, absolutely not. But I did get the things that I was most wanting out of this. And so now I'm on to the next project, partially YouTube, partially writing another book, and I'm asking myself the same questions. What am I hoping to get out of this? So here's the final thing. Just because something has always been your dream, sometimes it can stop being your dream. I know writers who've been at it a really long time and they woke up one day and thought, this isn't fun anymore. I'm not having fun with this. I don't want to do this anymore. And they've stopped. And you know what? If you wake up in the morning and you don't write anymore and you don't feel like there's a black cloud over your head, you're fine. Do the next thing. If you wake up in the morning and you don't want to make music anymore at all, or you don't want to dance, you want to draw, perfect. Do that. Or maybe you don't want to do anything creative at all. Maybe you have little bitty kids at home and all you want to do is sleep. Maybe you're working 2 jobs and all you want to do is like sit someplace and put your feet up. That's fine too. They're your dreams. That's the point. They're your dreams. So when somebody says to you, don't quit your day job, or are you still working on that thing? You can look at them with the biggest smile on your face and say, yes, I am, because I'm pursuing my dreams, you person, asshole. Sorry. I'm pursuing my dreams, and you can go watch Netflix if you want. And we can watch Netflix too, because that's allowed too, because we're making our own creative life so we can do what we want, as long as our basic needs are met. So, okay, I'm Emily Roberson. Thanks for listening, and I'll be back to talk about the creative life.